Hi there guys, we are going to be looking at the isometric to isometric today, and the clear instruction is using the dimensions given, redraw the isometric figure provided. Hidden detail is not needed. Alright, so on the right hand bottom corner you'll be able to see my isometric drawing with all its dimensions. And first things first, I'd like to find out exactly my total height, my total length, and my total width. Because this is a 3D shape, remember 3D stands for three-dimensional, or it having three dimensions. And the three dimensions that I'm talking about is specifically the height, width, and length. Remember, if it only has two dimensions, it would be called a 2D shape, and I'll only be able to see any two of those dimensions, which would either be the height and the width, the height or the length, or the width and the length, depending on which view I'm looking from. Right, in this case we have a 3D shape, so let's get going. I'm going to be selecting my line type, so I'm going to quickly create a construction line type for myself to work with. And I'm going to be selecting a nice green line so that you guys can see exactly what's going on. And I'm going to also create a final line or a borderline to work with. Great. Let's go ahead. I select my line type, which is a final, or in fact I'm going to start off with construction, and we need to realize that my total height in this case over here will equal, let's see, 75. So I'm just gathering my information. My total width in this case, seen from this end, I've got 63, but 63 only goes from this point over here to this point, and I've got an end cut out of my existing cube or box, and that is an extra 25. So 63 and 25 gives me my 88. And I also need to go and find my total length. My total length will be seen from the right hand side. So I've got an existing cutout area of 48, but just below that it tells me from that point over there, from this point to this point over here, if you see there highlighted, is 63. So I'm going to use that 63. Right, now that I have this information, I can actually go ahead and draw my entire box. It's going to shape the actual parameter in which I'm going to be working with. Remember, this shape here will fit inside of its own box. Go to my line tool. I'm on the construction line, and I want to draw at an angle of 30 degrees. Select my spot. Go ahead and draw a nice line with a 30 degree line. Remember, you'll be using your 30 degree set square. So select a point on your page down quite low. And draw another line at 30 degrees in another direction, the opposite direction. And I'm also going to be dealing with a nice vertical line. Okay. Straight away, this line over here will indicate that it's the length that I'm dealing with. It's that length over there. This line over here will indicate the width that I'm drawing with, or is that 63 plus that existing 25, which was the 88. And already I have the total height over here, which is obviously this guy over here. So let's go and make sure that these lines are at the same lengths as I have recorded. There we go, 75. This one will be 63. And this line over here will be my width, 88. Right, perfect. Right, so I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. And I'm going to actually use my copy tool. In your case, you could either use your sliding set square or slide your t-square up and just keep your 30-degree set square on that t-square in order to find a line joining the top of this line at an angle of 30 degrees. Okay, I'm going to use my copy tool. I'm going to be copying this line. Starting point of copy. Going to be copying this line here too. Starting point of copy. I'll take this one up this side. I can see I'm going to go into my length over here, and I'm going to go and use the copy tool on the last one over here, and I'm going to start copying from there to this point here. Okay, I'm just going to give this shape a little shift. And shift it slightly down, just so that it fits into my page, and this information I'll just drag right to the right hand side. Okay, so you're simply going to be using your 30-degree set square yet again from that point to draw that line over there. Okay, so now that I've used this information over here to draw this box, I now realize that this shape over here given to me will fit inside of this box. Remember, they've actually scaled this down, so this shape will in fact fit inside this box with these dimensions given. Right, automatically I can see that there's certain lines that are entirely shaded in a final line. So I'm going to go pick out those lines and make my life a little bit easier. Those three lines seem to be the ones that are shaded in permanent line or final line. You can see it there. I can't see any of these other sides shaded entirely in a final line. So I'm going to go and start off with those lines. Right. Now I know that this distance over here of this line here is 15. So let's go draw that line. 15 millimeters from this point here. Right, I can go and measure it out from there to there. Seems to be moving my corner, so I'm going to be not using this line here, simply deleting the remainder and converting this into a final line. Okay. Okay, now that I've sorted that out, I'm now going to go at 30 degrees, which is coming back into the side over here, a distance of 73. You can see the distance over there. Let's quickly zoom in on that. That line over there. I'm going to be drawing a line. Let's see. At an angle. This is going to be a 330 degree. Remember, the computer sees it as 360 minus 30, so it's just obviously 30 degrees to the opposite direction. There we go. And I'd like to make that line length 73. There we go. And quite obviously, I'm going to go into the opposite direction, which is the opposite 30-degree line from this point here straight to this point over here. This will obviously go a lot faster with your T-square and your TD board. I've now completed this top platform over here. I'm going to delete this guy and draw from here to here, which is obviously at 30 degrees. Okay, it's starting to take shape. If I want to cover this platform over here, or this face of my box, I simply look at this face of my box over here, and it looks like it's got an L shape to it, so I need to get that done. If I run my pencil along this line over here, this 30-degree line here, I've only got that small little line over there that's in dark. So that is obviously 48, or 63 minus 48. In this case, I'm simply going to go ahead and find what length this line is. Or I can simply go ahead and go and find that length, which is 48. Okay, 63 minus 48. Give me my 15. I'm going to draw a line length of 15. Right. And I want a vertical line from there. Okay, so we don't know where this line is going to end up. In fact, we do. If we look at the dimensions given, it says 38. So I can change that line length there to 38. And I'm going to be drawing a line at an angle of 30 degrees to this line over here. Right, now that I've got this L shape over here, that one over there, I can go ahead with the next face, this one over here. I'm going to just construct this line over here so that you still see the actual box that this shape is fitting in. Okay, this shape over here will bring out this shape over here. So let's look at my dimensions. I've got the bottom dimension given to me as 63. So I've got to go from the bottom corner down my 30-degree line 63 millimeters. So the bottom corner, 63 millimeters. So let's do that. I want that to be a final line. Draw that line. That's perfectly fine. At 63. And if I zoom in on here, those two little arrows are pointing inward, so it's between this line and that line there, which indicates this distance over here is going to be 20. Let's see if we can work out this little height over here. They don't indicate the height of this, so let's see. This height must be equal to that height. Since this is a 30-degree line and this is a 30-degree line, obviously being isometric, this height must equal that height. So therefore, it must be 38 high. Nice vertical line from this point upward. I could actually go and draw a construction line there. And I could draw another construction line at 30 degrees from this point back there, and where they intersect, I could simply go ahead and convert these two lines to final lines. There we go. We know that this line over here is a 30-degree line and that is a 30-degree line. So let's do the same thing there. From here, I go select an angle. Remember, you'll be using your 30-degree set square. I'll be drawing that in construction. So those two lines that meet up over there, in your case, you'll simply know that this line over here and this line over here will be redrawn in final line. Okay, and then obviously from that intersecting point, I'm going to go straight up and draw a line in final line for that corner. Okay, there we go. Things are taking shape here. Let's continue the top section over here. We're going to look at this face over here, which is the top face over there again. We know that this little interval over here, that line length there, is going to be 20. Okay, this line length over there. That's going to be 20. We already have this interval, so we simply want to drop a perpendicular line or a nice vertical line down in construction for now, because we don't, or do we know the length? Let's see. If I zoom in on this height over here is equal to that height over there, and it gives me the height over here. Remember that arrow is pointing to the inside of the lines. These two lines and these two lines are lined up with the height of this line and the height of that line, which is 15. So we do know the height of this line over here, and we can draw it in final line. With your T-square and your 90-degree set square, you're going to go ahead right, and we also want an angle of 30 degrees yet again. From here to here. Make sure that this line length is 20. And we want a nice vertical line from there all the way up to this line here. Very good. Do we know the line length of that line over there? Looks like we'll have to work that out. Right, we know that the distance from this point here to this point here is 20, just like it is from here to here. And it also indicates that it is 20. So I'm going to go measure out a line there. From this point out to this point here. Let's take that away so we can accurately get to this line length. That is obviously 20. Let's make sure that these lines are intact. Yes, they are. So we have accurate lengths, and we also want to have angled or isometric lines from there down. Right, take note, I'm going to be using my construction lines here yet again. And I want an angled line here at 30 degrees from this point here onward. Okay, we have another intersecting point over here, so I'm just going to clean it up a little bit with my trimming tool, and I'm going to convert this line and this line to a final line. Right. Do I know the depth of this cutout over here? Well, we've worked it out to be 15. So I'm going to draw a nice final line, 15 millimeters long. And I'm going to have isometric lines here yet again, meaning at 30 degrees. Okay, because that line looks like that line over there. Alright, and we are going to have another line at an angle of 30 degrees from here down this way here. I'm just going to clean this up. Right. We want to have this face over here. So I think by now you've noticed that I've only used isometric lines, and I'm referring to simple points. So if I use this as a reference point to draw a 30-degree line from, I'm going to be able to draw that existing face over there without even using any measurements. Right, the next step over here, I can see that that line length over there is indicated to be 15 millimeters. There it is there, 15 millimeters. So I'm simply going to carry on with a final line from that point onward until I get to 15 millimeters. Delete this existing line and make sure that that is 15. There we go. And that naturally will give me this existing cutout on the top face or the top surface. Let's see if I can get this line over here, the length of this line. They don't indicate it, so it looks like one of those that I'll have to work out. Interesting. Alright, well then 73 minus 88, or sorry, 88 minus 73 is 15. I know that that line there is 15. This line is 20 as indicated over here. Right. I have the bottom line here is 63. So how am I going to find out the length of this line and this line over here? Well, you can see over here that this point over here, that depth over there is 13. So automatically I know the remainder of this, or this gap over here, is going to be 13. So I'm going to go ahead and construct a line down there. I'm going to see if I can carry on drawing and eventually get to a natural solution. Use the drawing to help me solve this issue. Okay, I'm going to draw another 30-degree line from this point here across there. I'm going to clean this up. I know that I'm going to have a construction line going right across here because somewhere, let's make sure that this is in fact at 30 degrees. There we go. It's going to randomly, at a random length, draw that line there. Okay, it's taking shape, and I'm going to draw a line from here. Make sure that that is at 30 degrees as well. Right, randomly. Okay, it's taking shape. It will be yet another one. Over here. Okay, but I'm struggling to find this distance over here. Right. Let's look at this. That line length over there is given to me over here. That's 53. Right. If I have something to subtract from there, I'll be able to know exactly what this line length is over here. I've got the total length from this point to the corner, 53. Just give you a moment to think about this. Alright, I think I've given you long enough. I'm sure you'd be able to find the distance indicated right over here from this corner or this line to this line. We have a measurement given to you as 25. That's interesting. So we're using some deduction theory over here, and I'm going to be measuring a line length from here to this side over here, 25 millimeters apart. So I'm going to go along my 30 degree line, my isometric line, and I'm going to find a line length of 25. So let's be accurate with that. Okay. And I simply want to construct a line that is going to be a vertical line from there all the way up. Let's quickly recap on what I've just done. I've used this dimension over here because the line length from, or the line distance from this line to that line over there, which is going to be this line to that line over there, is going to be 25 as indicated on the actual diagram. So I go ahead and I measure from this corner 25 up and draw a nice vertical line all the way to the top, because we can see that this line is actually going all the way to the top. Great. I'm just going to clean it up slightly. You can see it all coming together. And I'm going to convert this line and this line, that line, this one, and that one, all to a final line. Wow, there we go. So we have one line left, find an intersecting point, and then we can convert those two lines to final lines. I need to draw it at an angle of 30 degrees. Go to that point there. At 30 degrees, construct that. I'm going to neaten this up a little and convert this line and that line to a final line. There we go, guys. I've used the necessary information from the diagram to draw my initial box in which this shape will fit. I've used each one of these dimensions given to find the necessary lines, and I've simply followed it from one line to another and used the deduction theory to find the little bit more difficult areas. I do in fact see another line over here that I have left out. Let's quickly sort that one out. From there, to there. I'd like to just show the actual existing box in construction. It's important that you guys realize that this entire shape did fit inside of another box. This existing box, if you remember, I used this information to actually go ahead and construct that box first. So if it's nice and light, your final drawing will be in dark and it will stand out at you. So remember, the construction lines are there to construct the final drawing, and it is there to help you or guide you to get your final drawing. Okay guys, I think that is me for this lesson. I hope you have found this very helpful.